Salam alaikum. How are you doing, guys? In today's podcast, I'll be talking to you about student entrepreneurship, which is simply being a student and an entrepreneur at the same time. So a couple of days back, I was speaking at a conference at UM6P, which is the Mohammed VI University or the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University, when a young man by name Castro asked me a question. And he said, how did I balance my student's life with entrepreneurship? So I thought it wise to actually record a podcast or a video to answer this question, especially not just for him, but for anybody else out there who is a student and interested in being an entrepreneur. First off, I have to say that being a student entrepreneur is no joke. It is no easy thing to do. So if you are doing it already, or if you started, or if you're starting, or if you're thinking even of starting, this is to you. Kudos, bravo. Now you have to know a few things. The life of an entrepreneur is a life of no excuses. So it doesn't really matter whether you're a student, whether you're a medical student, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a language student. At the end of the day, you've got to deliver on the promise that you made your clients. So question number one, what are the promises you made your clients? Question number two, are you sure you can deliver on them on time and exceptionally well? Question number three, will this compromise on the quality of your education? These are things that we have to ask ourselves. So I'm going to use myself as a case study, and we're going to learn a few things. My hardest moments were when I was in the geological engineering school, which I eventually changed to the Faculty of Letters, where I studied English literature. And what I would do is that I structured my day in such a way that I could actually make the best out of my mornings and my evenings. So I had a very strict routine. Between 2019 and 2021 or 2022, my routine pretty much didn't change. In the mornings, I knew what I was doing. In the evenings, I knew what I was doing. So my morning routines were simply geared towards orienting and priming myself for the rest of the day. So I would go on runs, I would read, I would meditate, I would pray. And for those of you who don't do any of these things, you can replace it with something that you already do. So I would practice gratitude for a couple of minutes, and then I will step out into the day. Remember that as an entrepreneur, it is extremely important to make connections. It is extremely important to put yourself out there for people to discover you. And now, one of the difficult things to do as a student is that you have to be able to read, catch up with class, and at the same time, put yourself out there and deliver for your clients and to your clients. So what I would do is that I would actually gauge where the class was going. So I would go to school, probably the first week. I would have an idea what the classes were about. I would get all the resources I needed to have, all the books I needed to read. And what I would do is that in the night when I'm done teaching, I would read. So I would have a couple of weeks where I was extremely jammed up and packed up with responsibilities and tasks. And I'll have a couple of weeks ahead of me where I could have some freedom to be able to maneuver the academic life properly. Remember that as a student entrepreneur, you cannot let any one of them fall. You have to be able to juggle both of them and try to do them very well. I keep telling people that there are some people who are in school to have excellent grades. Okay, you have to ask yourself a few questions as well with regards to your academic life. The question I asked myself was, did I want to have, and in Morocco, the grading system is out of 20. So I had to ask myself, do I want to have 20 out of 20? Or I was okay with 14 or 15? These are valid questions you have to ask yourself. You have to ask yourself if the grades you're getting are going to impact the dreams that you have ahead of you. And if they are not going to impact the dreams you have ahead of you, then you must restructure your goals and your objectives. So I settled with getting grades of around 15, 14, 16. I didn't strive to do anything more than that because the effort required to actually get your grades from 16 to 18 is going to take me about, a couple of hours away from work, which I wasn't willing to compromise on. So that is what I personally did. The other thing I did was that I also participated in a lot of events. So either my personal events that I organize or other people's events. And the reason is that if you're an entrepreneur, then you need to network. And if you're a student entrepreneur, then you need to network even more at a student level, because you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of your hat as a student so that when you move into the professional world, you can actually tell them that, look, I have tried these methods on students and they work, and hence I can try it on you. So personally, being a student entrepreneur was quite challenging. I'm very glad I'm done with my degree. I most likely might continue to do my master's, but whatever I do, I understand that being an entrepreneur and anything else is complicated. Being an entrepreneur and anything else is hard. And as individuals, Once you are thinking of entrepreneurship, you may not have a family yet, but if you are a student entrepreneur who does not have a family, who is single, who is that, then consider yourself blessed, because those studies might be challenging and combining studies with entrepreneurship might seem impossible. You are just in the right place to give it a try. So, to all the upcoming student entrepreneurs, to all the ongoing student entrepreneurs, this is a message to you. It is not easy. You have to think smarter. You have to think faster. You have to operate in a different dimension. But trust me, the reward is so satisfying. You don't even need to succeed in terms of financial success. Once you start to implement the ideas you have, and once you start to see the baby that you have in your mind starts to grow, trust me, the satisfaction is unparalleled. My cousin told me once, and his name is Xavier, and he commented on LinkedIn actually, and he said, education is such a risky thing. Even venturing into tertiary education should be considered entrepreneurial. And so I think if you're a student, whether or not you think you're an entrepreneur, you're already taking risks. And so, cheers to all you entrepreneurs out there. Till I come your way next time, cheers.